really is no news to anyone in this room that we're facing some serious challenges this year. The financial crisis is hammering the country and our state, and it has hit the CSU in ways that make CFA's work protecting faculty salary and working conditions and providing quality education for our students more challenging than ever before. In difficult times like these, there is always a temptation to withdraw, to turn inward and simply wait until the hard times blow over. As leaders, though, we know that every important fight in history has only ever been won because visionaries pressed forward even through the bleakest of times. Consider the 2008 election. I don't know about you, but I really never expected in my lifetime to see an African American elected to the presidency. And yet, by November of last year, generations of men and women who kept up the fight for their vision of a just society through unspeakable injustices, through the worst of times, ultimately created a time when Barack Obama could become President of the United States. Furthermore, consider that after 8 years of Bush on top of 30 years of conservative ascendancy, as we moved toward the election, we found ourselves living under a government whose values were nearly unrecognizable to most of us. Torture, fear-mongering, corruption, injustice, and savage individualism had led us to years of war and an economy in shambles. We had come to the worst times our nation has seen since the Great Depression. And then, in November, we elected a candidate with experience as a community organizer who spoke to the values of community, interdependency, justice, and compassion. The vision that many had continued to fight for even through the long winter of the Bush era. There can be no doubt that the people who elected Barack Obama were hungry for the very different vision that he offered. So many times in history, the bleakest moments seem to occur before major breakthroughs. And these breakthroughs happen because some people simply refuse to abandon their vision of an alternative and better future. I would never argue that the election of President Obama created a just society. But the vision that enabled it to happen opens up opportunities for us to move our vision forward if we are prepared to fight through these very difficult times. Here in California, our own Bushes, Chancellor Reed, Trustee Howell, and a handful of obstructionists in the state capitol all wield far too much power to set the agenda of our state and our university. The steady decline of state support that they have overseen threatens the public good we have been trying to serve. As a result, after years of defunding the CSU, we too have reached our bleakest point. In the face of these challenges, we have been the keepers of the alternative vision of a just society in which the California State University plays a critical role. As leaders, we must have a larger vision that tries to shape the future, or else we will find ourselves at its mercy. It's with an eye to the future that the California Faculty Association committed itself to defeating Proposition 1A. This proposal does several things that are simply horrible for the CSU. If passed, it will institute a decade of defunding of public higher education in California. It will be nearly impossible for state spending on higher education to increase year over year, and most likely it will make it impossible for the CSU to ever return to even 2002 levels of funding. There can be no doubt that we find ourselves living in very grim times. When we look around the state, it almost feels like George Bush is still president, and he is steadily dismantling every vestige of the public commons that remains. Although some of our colleagues may become discouraged, we cannot abandon our alternative vision, and we must do everything we can to make it real. We know that the faculty and students of the CSU and the next generation of faculty and students can count on CFA. We are the leaders who will not only chart the way, but lead it. I want to thank you all for coming to this meeting today, this weekend, where we will be talking about the very important next steps that we must take if we are to make our vision a reality. Thank you.